Welcome to this lesson about built-in functions in Python programming language. Python programming language standard library is full of built-in functions that increase productivity for everyone who write Python programs. To use any built-in function in Python programming language from the Python standard library, all what you need to do is calling the function using the function name followed by the parentheses of the function, and it might have an argument or more than one argument. And an argument in Python is a value that is passed when you call a function. For example, the type built-in function, and we talked about this function previously. You can use the type built-in function to get the type, and you can use the type built-in function to get the type of any data. For example, you can create a variable called x and it has a value. This is an integer number data type. Then you can use the type built-in function inside the print function, and the print function also is a built-in function. And to use the print function, you can call it only. You don't have to design its structure. All what you need is calling the function using the function name followed by parentheses. And in this case, we use two functions. The type built-in function to get the type of the variable called x to display its class type on the screen, and the print function to display the output for this operation or to get this type inside the integrated terminal. And you can run your file. You can see after running your file directly inside the integrated terminal, we got class int, refers to integer number data type. These are two built-in functions, two examples for two built-in functions in Python programming language. Also, there is another function called input. You can use the input function from the Python standard library to get an input from a user. Put a comment first. We're gonna say get an input. Then after that, we're gonna use the input function to get a name from a user. And this is an input function. Open its parentheses, and we're gonna type a prompt string. Input data, work with data to do some computations, and after running the file, we are gonna insert an answer. Let's see this. Type what's your name inside the parentheses of the input function. What is your name? Simply, and after that you can print using the print function your name is, and then you can use comma to put a space in between this and the variable called name. And if you try to run your file, you will get what's your name in the output, and in this case you can type your name, for example Ahmed, and hit enter or return, and you will get your name is Ahmed. This string data type followed by the name we insert here, Ahmed. You can insert your name or anything else. When the assignment statement runs, the program or the Python the prompt string from inside the input function is printed to the shell, as you can see, what's your name. And after that, the program stops and waits for the user to type a response, and we type a response in this case, which is the name we type, Ahmed. And when the user presses the enter key or the return key, the input function returns the characters that the user typed, which is Ahmed, as you can see, after the string we typed here to print. It's a very simple process. Typically, the input function is used on the right hand side of an assignment operator, as you can see in our program, and the user response is stored into the variable of the left hand side, which is called name. And the input function produces the characters or strings that the user types, even if those characters are digits. If you insert a digit or anything else, the program will give you this digit as a string. Run your file again. You can type 10, as you can see, and you will get your name is 10 as a string data type, not an integer number data type. Let's talk about another built-in functions. We are gonna talk about simply the int function. The int function, you can use the int function from the Python standard library to convert a floating point number with a decimal point or a string data type or a sequence of characters in between double quotes to int or to integer number data type. All what you need in this case to do is using this function by calling it. You can call the int function to use it only, followed by its parentheses, and pass all the values inside the parentheses of the int function. For example, we are going to create a variable called x, and its value in this case is 10.1. This value is a floating point number or float, not an integer number data type. To convert this number to an integer number data type, you can use the int function simply. Int and type 10.1 or type the variable that stores this value inside it. We stored this value inside the x variable, and after running your file you can see the output is 10, an integer number data type, due to using this int built-in function. To use this built-in function called int, all what you need to do is call your function with the function name followed by its parentheses and pass the value or the variable name inside its parentheses. Also, you can use the str function to change this floating point number to string data type simply here, str. Then if you try to use the type built-in function to display the class that this value belongs to, you will get string data type, not floating point number. Run your file after saving it, and you will get class str, as you can see, not class float simply. If you try to remove this str built-in function, you will get class float. The str built-in function is a built-in function from the Python standard library to convert a floating point number or an integer number to a string data type. Also, you can use the float function from the Python standard library to convert a type of this, for example, this integer number data type. The float function will display the type of this value as a floating point number, not an integer number. You will get this number in the output if you try to print it with a decimal point, and if you try to display its type, you will get class float, not class int, as you can see here. And if you try to remove the type built-in function to display the value of x, you will get 10 with a decimal point, as you can see inside the integrated terminal, 10.0 or 10.0. That's it. These are some examples for built-in functions in Python programming language. And Python programming language has a set of built-in functions. You can use any of them by calling the function followed by its parentheses.